right, so we are Who Were the Grimm Brothers, Chapter 8, called Folk Heroes. Jacob and William were sad to leave Castle. Dorothea was pregnant and not feeling well, so she and 2-year-old Herman stayed behind. It must have been hard for William to say goodbye to his wife and baby. However, the brothers arrived to their new home to a warm welcome. A friend had already lit fires in the stoves. Weeks later, William returned for his wife and son. And 3 months later, Dorothea gave birth to another son, Rudolph. Sadly, Jacob was not very happy with his new life in Göttingen. He had to prepare lectures, which left little time to read the books he wanted. Jacob was not a very good teacher. He didn't let his students ask questions because he didn't like to be distracted. He wanted to maintain control of the classroom. William proved to be a much better teacher than Jacob. He was patient with his students' mistakes and a very popular lecturer. 22 students signed up for his first class on medieval German poetry. Jacob had only 8 students when he taught the same poetry class. But Jacob was receiving more and more praise for his work as a language scholar. The university let Jacob have more time for research. In 1932, Dorothea gave birth to a baby girl named Auguste. Actually, I looked that up. She and William now had 3 healthy children. Jacob was a devoted uncle. It was a happy time for the brothers until their sister Lot became seriously ill. She died on June 15, 1833. Lot's death was particularly hard for William. For 2 years, he found it difficult to write or work. Jacob, however, turned his focus to German mythology. The most famous myths, stories told to help explain the world around us, are from ancient Greece and Rome. One Greek myth tells how the earth was formed. Another tells why the peacock's feathers look like eyes. Many other myths tell how the Greek and Roman gods interfered in the lives of human beings. Jacob's work, German Mythology, published in 1835, completely changed how people thought about the German people and their culture. Many people knew the myths from ancient Greece and Rome, but very few knew any German myths. Instead, they thought ancient Germans were barbaric. Now, because of Jacob, people could read these ancient stories and see that ancient Germans were actually civilized people with a system of law and faith in the divine. People who study German mythology today refer to the time before 1835 as before Grimm, and the years after 1835 as after Grimm. In 1837, Ernest Augustus became king of Hanover. He did not rule fairly and did not respect his people. He demanded that the university professors were to be loyal to him. He wanted the professors to sign an oath. Jacob and William, along with 5 other professors, refused. Instead, they sent a protest to the king. They did not think a ruler should have the power to take away people's rights. These 7 professors became known as the Göttingen 7. Ernest Augustus was furious. The University of Göttingen fired the 7 professors, and the king exiled the 3 leaders, one of whom was Jacob, but many students supported their professors. They threw rocks in the windows of the professors who had obeyed the king. King Augustus told the students that if they tried to help the 7 professors, they would be charged a huge fine, but the students refused to listen. On December 17, 1837, soldiers escorted 3 leaders of the Göttingen 7, including Jacob, to the border of Hanover. They were being forced to leave the province. Nearly 300 students walked 20 miles in the freezing cold to meet their professors at the border of Witzenhausen. As a sign of loyalty to their professors and of protest to the king, they unhooked the horses from the professors' carriages. The students themselves pulled the carriages across the bridge and out of the territory of Ernest Augustus. The news spread across the German provinces. Many people were proud that the professors had stood up to the king. The bridge crossing became known as the Witzenhausen Escort. Like characters in one of their own stories, the brothers Grimm had become folk heroes. That's the end of the chapter. That was a really good chapter. Chapter 9 is called Celebrities.